Hello everybody and welcome back to Dr. Ghost Games. Today we are going to be talking about all of the tiers in World of Warships Legends and what tiers I'm going to go ahead and rank and which ones I think are the best and which ones I think from the worst. So what we're going to go ahead and be doing is we're going to start by ranking the worst tiers in Legends. Of course, in my opinion, keep in mind these are my opinions. You guys are entitled to your guys' own opinions. You guys are more than welcome to going in the comments, actually, and letting me know what you guys think are the best tiers in World of Warships Legends. What's your favorite tier? Yeah, I'm actually curious to know. I also did a community post not too long ago asking what was your guys' favorite tiers, and we will get to that later in the video. I will actually reveal what you guys pick as your favorite tiers. But yeah, now with all that being said, let's go ahead and jump right into this one. Starting off with tiers 1 and 2 real quick. I'm not gonna keep tier 1 and 2 in here. I think that tier 1 and 2 are basically the starter tiers. Everybody's got to start, but let's be real. Who the hell actually plays tier 2, right? Like, other than for, of course, premium supplies. So we're gonna exclude tier 1 and 2 from this ranking, but I will still say that tier 2 and tier 1, I've had a lot of fun games in there, especially with like a bunch of my clanmates, or I think sometimes I like to just go down there, have some fun. There's some pretty cool tier 2s, aka Mikasa, Vampire, etc. There's some fun stuff to do down at tier 2, but then again, it's one of the seal clubbing tiers. So we're gonna exclude tier 1 and 2 from this ranking. But anyway, we're gonna start off by revealing my pick anyway, what the worst tier in World of Warships Legends is. And some of you might be shocked by this, but I think the worst tier in World of Warships Legends by far is Legendary tier. That's right. I think Legendary tier is the worst tier in World of Warships Legends, and trust me, I've got some things to say about L tier. Don't worry, I'm not just gonna say it's the worst and move on. No. Legendary tier, aka Lego tier, also known as L tier, okay? There's a bunch of nicknames everybody has given Legendary tier. We all know them, we all love them, and we can't go and just say that we just didn't name them, name it Legendary tier that for nothing. I can tell you right now, Legendary tier is the worst because, number one, obviously, well, you don't earn any credits. There's no incentive in playing Legendary tier. You go broke half the time playing Legendary tier, right? Especially if you don't have premium time or if you don't put on any flags. Number two, there's so many goddamn potatoes up at Legendary tier. Why? Why? Everybody that has a Legendary ship by now should know what they're doing, and yet they don't. And also, not to mention, the complete and utter imbalance that is up there. Shimikazes, Conquerors, Yamatos, it's so unbalanced up there at Legendary tier. Now, don't get me wrong, you can still have some great games at Legendary tier. You can still have a lot of fun, right? But I cannot go without saying that Legendary tier, for the most part, for me anyway, in my experience, has been nothing but pain and suffering, okay? I've had a lot more pain and suffering playing Legendary tier than actually having genuine fun. Remember, Legendary tier, you don't make any money, you don't make anything, okay? So there's really no incentive to play it. And not to mention, you got these ships that are completely unbalanced. You get Wargaming buffing or buffing ships that don't need to be buffed, aka not Worcester, but the Colbert, for example. They recently just buffed the Colbert. Why? Like, Wargaming seems to not know how to balance Legendary tier very well. So it's a yikes, man. It's an overall yikes. And yeah, that's, in my opinion, the worst tier in World of Warships Legends is tier Legendary. It's a yikes, man. And yeah, I'm not the biggest fan. Moving on to my next pick on the list, the second worst tier in World of Warships Legends. The petty crown is going to have to go to tier 8, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I was contemplating putting tier 8 in the Legendary spot, not going to lie. But yeah, I've actually had some decent games at tier 8. I've actually enjoyed it, but then again, I still have nothing but negativity to say about Legendary tier, if you will. Tier 8. Legendary tier and tier 8, guys, in my book, are just the worst. But tier 8, I was contemplating moving this one up to Legendary tier. Legendary tier's place. But tier 8, in my opinion, is the second worst tier because of the fact that it's just nothing but cookie cutter ships, recycled, reused, ships from tier 7 and legendary. It's just the weirdest tier, man, in this game. There's nothing too spectacular at tier 8 other than maybe like Republic. That one sticks out. That's an awesome tier 8. Like, who the hell cares about Maine? Who the hell cares about Buffalo? Who cares about Seattle? Like, a lot of these ships are just cookie cutter, reused, recycled versions of the tier 7 and legendary counterparts. There's absolutely no need for me to play tier 8, really, unless I need to do premium supplies, or if I just, you know, want to suffer, right? You don't make any credits. There's really not much of an incentive to play tier 8 and legendary. You got a bunch of people that are retards at tier 8, mainly because, well, Wargaming puts a lot of tier 8 premiums in the campaign, which a lot of wallet warriors go out of their way to pick up. They've got no idea how to play the game. I mean, it's just a yikes, man. There's a lot of imperfection at tier 8. There's not a lot of variety. Well, I say there's not a lot of variety. There's just, what's the best way of putting it? There's nothing interesting at tier 8 in my opinion. Everything is like something we already have, right? Everything at tier 8 is just reused, recycled ships. And that's why I think tier 8 is just kind of a meh tier. But I still think it's better than legendary at least. At least you won't go completely broke in the process while ripping your hair out in tier 8. But yeah, tier 8 on my list, it's going to be the second worst tier in World of Warships Legends. Now, moving on to the third worst tier in World of Warships Legends. Now, this one was a little hard for me to pick, but it wasn't that hard for me in the end. Tier 3. Now, a lot of you guys might disagree with me here, but I think tier 3 is the third worst tier in Legends, mainly because, well, let's be real. Not a lot of people are going to play tier 3 unless you need to, like, play for premium supplies, or you need to play it for, well, seal clubbing, obviously. Like, who doesn't love playing Agincourt, going around nuking a bunch of seals, right? Yeah, tier 3. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't have much negativity to say about tier 3. I actually quite like tier 3. There's a lot of fun ships to play at tier 3. But let's be real. At the end of the day, not a lot of us, especially us veteran players, are going to be choosing it out of our, out of our tier lists, okay? But tier 3, number 1, you don't make a whole lot of credits. There's really not much of an incentive, once again, to play tier 3. There's nothing but noobs and starters down there, right? So really, tier 3 at the end of the day, it's a starter tier. Not a lot of people are going to be playing tier 3. And the people that are playing tier 3 are either seal clubbing, doing some premium supplies, or they're just a bunch of noobs trying to learn the game. And for that reason alone, I think I'm going to have to rate tier 3 the third worst tier in Legends. But don't get me wrong, I still have some fun at tier 3. I still have some fun there, but it's kind of just a meh tier if you think about it. That's just my opinion, though. Obviously, these are all my opinions. You don't have to agree with me. Now, moving on to the next pick on my list, it's going to be tier 4 right after tier 3. Now, don't get me wrong. I have a favorite ship at tier 4. I love playing my Marblehead, okay? Marblehead's easily one of my favorite ships in the entire game. I've got some fun ships I like playing, like Texas, Oklahoma. I like taking out, I don't know, all these. There's a lot of fun picks at tier 4, and I think this is where the ships start getting good, or the tiers start getting good. Tier 4, I think, is when the game starts actually becoming fun. Now, yeah, I think tier 4 in this game, it's actually quite good. I don't have nothing bad to say about tier 4, other than there's a lot of noobs, once again, at tier 4. There's a lot of starter players out there trying to get the hang of the game. But I think tier 4 is a pretty good tier all around. There's a lot of fun ships to take out at tier 4. There's a lot of, well, there's a lot of toxic ships too. Cough, cough, kamikaze, and Julio and stuff like that. But there's a lot of fun premiums at tier 4. There's a lot of fun ships to play at tier 4. And it's a pretty balanced tier all around. Tier 4, there's nothing super broken. I mean, there's kamikaze and stuff, but every tier has their ships that are quite broken. There's a few that we all know and love at each tier that we can definitely say are quite busted. But I have nothing but good to say about tier 4. I actually quite like playing tier 4, especially when I'm like having a bad day up at tier 7, legendary, tier 8, or even tier 6. If I'm just having a bad day, I go down to tier 4s and I have some fun. I even play some tier 3s and try to have some fun. So, I think tier 4, nothing but a good tier, really. There's a lot of fun premiums to play at tier 4. There's a lot of fun tech trees. It's pretty all well around balanced, except when you get in the lobbies with kamikazes and stuff. But overall, I think Tier 4 is a solid tier, and I think Tier 4 is when the game really starts becoming quite fun. Now, moving on to the next pick on the list, Tier 6, guys. I think Tier 6 is right above Tier 4. Tier 6, once again, I have nothing but good to say about Tier 6. Tier 6 is where you start making the bank if you need those credits to start buying those higher tier ships that we all know and love, especially those Tier 7s and stuff. But Tier 6, there's a lot of fun premiums out there. I love taking out Kid. Monty, if you're watching this, wink, wink. But Tier 6 has a lot of fun premiums, such as, of course, the Kid, such as, I don't know, Z35, such as Scharnhorst. A lot of people love taking out Scharnhorst. Hood, stuff like that. There's a lot of fun Tier 6s out there. And I think Tier 6 is a solid tier all around. It's also, once again, well balanced. There's not a whole lot of broken Tier 6s at Tier 6. And not to mention, the one broken Tier 6, I think that we all knew and loved, the Weimar, was recently, well, not recently, but a while back, it was moved up to Tier 7. So, overall, I think Tier 6 is quite a balanced tier. There's a lot of fun to be had at Tier 6. It's a perfect middle packed between Tier 5 and Tier 7. I think it's a perfect tier. Nothing wrong, once again, to say about Tier 3 or Tier 6. I think Tier 6 is a solid tier all around, and I do quite enjoy playing it. Now, moving on to the second best tier in World of Warships Legends, it's going to have to go to Tier 7. Tier 7 is easily, I think, the second best tier in World of Warships Legends. There's a lot of fun ships to play at Tier 7. Now, there is a little bit of imbalance here and there at Tier 7, like Ochakovs, and there's a lot of toxic ships at Tier 7. Lots of fire spam going on, and really, yeah, but that's just because of the variety at Tier 7. You know, that's also a positive in of itself. There's so many ships at Tier 7. There's so many options. There's so many premium ships at Tier 7. There's a lot of fun to be had. And not to mention, you make a lot of credits playing Tier 7 premiums. Let me tell you. Yeah, I have nothing but good to say about Tier 7 for the most part. The only downside I would say to Tier 7 is, obviously, there's some annoying things up there. There's a lot of people that aren't very good at the game, and they somehow have access to Tier 7 tech trees and stuff like that, and even premiums. But like I said, there's one big thing that Tier 7 kind of sucks for, is it's when you get up-tiered. When you get put into Tier 8 lobbies, it can be a little bit of a struggle, but I think you can do just fine in Tier 7. Tier 7's a great tier all around. I think there's a lot of fun ships to play at Tier 7, and I think it's when people obviously start really getting into the game is at Tier 7. Tier 7's where it's at. In terms of gameplay, in terms of variety, in terms of content, there's so much to do at Tier 7. Lots of picks. And, yeah, I think Tier 7 is still one of the best tiers, but it isn't the best tier. I think I'm going to have to give the crown, overall, of the best tier in World of Warships Legends to Tier 5, guys. Tier 5 is, in my opinion, the best tier in World of Warships Legends. Mainly because, well, I think it's the most perfectly balanced tier in the game. There's not many broken tiers broken ships at Tier 5, maybe other than Ark Royal, right? Let me know in the comments below what you guys think. Are there many broken ships at Tier 5? I don't really think so. Tier 5 has a lot of awesome premiums, such as, first thing I can name off my head, Hyuga, right? Warspite. There's a lot of fun things to pick up at Tier 5 if you want to. There's a lot of great tech tree ships at Tier 5, right? I think Tier 5 all around is a solid tier. Lots of fun ships to play, and most importantly, it's balanced in terms of gameplay. There's not a whole lot of broken ships at Tier 5. I think all around, Tier 5 is a very solid tier. It's a great tier to really just have a good time at. I think it's nothing but decent at Tier 5. So, yeah, Tier 5, guys, I think is going to have to be my #1 pick. It was a tie between Tier 5 and really Tier 4, but Tier 4 I don't think are going to be... Not a lot of people are going to have that super high on their list, but yeah, I had to go with Tier 5, guys. That's the best tier in World of Warships Legends from a balance standpoint, from a gameplay standpoint, from a fun standpoint, and of course, there's a lot of variety. There's a lot of ships to pick from, and you can also, if you want to spend $40 on a Tier 5 ship, there's plenty of picks at Tier 5 to choose from. But nonetheless, everybody, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. What are your guys' favorite ships? What are your guys' favorite tiers? Let me know. I'm seriously looking forward to hearing from you guys on this topic. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think. And if you guys have stuck in the full 15 minutes, make sure to go down there and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. And yeah, once again, everybody, thank you for 1,600 subscribers. And yeah, a little bit of a different video today. A little bit of a longer one, but yeah, there's quite a lot of tiers in the game. So Wargaming, thank you for that. But yeah, tier 5, guys. Tier 5 is the best tier in Legends, in my opinion, by far. But it doesn't mean that I'll always be playing tier 5s. But anyway, yeah. Seriously, let me know what you guys think in the comments. And feel free to go vote on the community post as well. We did put a community post up. I asked you guys, what are your guys' favorite ships? And what are your guys' favorite tiers in the game? And yeah. And I did say I was going to actually post that real quick at the end of the video. So, speaking of it, here it is. This is what you guys picked as your favorite tiers in the game. And yeah, most of you guys actually picked tier 7. That's right. Right behind tier 7 you guys picked was tier 4s and 5s. So it doesn't surprise me really whatsoever. And let's be real, tier 1 and 3, they're the seal clubbing tiers. They're the low tiers. They're the starter tiers. Not a whole lot of people should be playing tier 3, let's say competitively. But yeah, and no surprise to me at all either. I'm glad you guys decided to go with your gut here and put tier 8 and legendary tier at the bottom. that should have been the 1%, let's be real. But yeah, you guys picked, and yeah, there you guys go. So nonetheless, everybody, yeah, I thank you guys for tuning into this one. A little bit of a longer video, but there's a lot of tiers, there's a lot of things to talk about. And yeah, nonetheless, everybody, I hope you all do or did enjoy this one rather. And have a good weekend, everybody. Once again, thank you for 1,600 subscribers. It's crazy to just the amount of support we get on this channel. I can't thank you guys enough. You guys know how it is. But nonetheless, have a good one, everybody. Have a great weekend from yours truly. And I will catch you guys on the next one. Peace out. Stay healthy, as always.